गुलों में रंग भरे बादलों बहार चली
Gulon mein rang bhare, baad nau bahar chale. This is one of my favorite ghazals of all time, and listening to it makes me think, what is the history of the ghazal?
चले भी आओ के गुलशन का कारोबार
The ghazal, with its soft mellifluous tone and its inconsistent rhyming, is a product of hundreds of years of intermingling of traditional devotional Hindu practices and a heavy influence of Muslim Persian singing traditions. Unlike Qawwali, the other famous musical genre of the subcontinent, the ghazal is distinct, where Qawwali is born out of Muslim devotional singing, often sung in Sufi shrines. Ghazal found its birthplace in the bordellos of Lucknow in the 19th century disintegrating Mughal Empire, often patronized by the literati, the Nawabs, and the nouveau riche of the 19th century northern India. Unlike Tumri and Qawwali, Ghazal does not trace its history as far back as the medieval period. Instead, Ghazal found its birth and unprecedented success in the court of Wajid Ali Shah, the last Nawab of Lucknow. 19th century India was a cacophony of warring vultures scraping at the carcass of the Mughal Empire. The British East India Company at this point had firmly established its rule in most of northern India, and they had a military alliance with the Nawab of Lucknow, providing security against his regional rivals. These were the dying days of the once great Mughals. Infighting and invasions had devastated the empire, and the cultural capital of northern India had shifted from Delhi to Lucknow at this point. Moving to Lucknow, this high culture of the Mughal court found a rebirth. It found another life in the court of Wajid Ali Shah, the last Nawab of Lucknow. Pre-1857, Lucknow represented the zenith of Urdu literature and high culture. It was the home of the venerated Ganga Jamuna culture. This bastion of interreligious and intercultural harmony, Lucknow became a cosmopolitan city, and this is where Ghazal finds its birth. The story of Ghazal is intertwined with Nawab Wajid Ali Shah. Without his patronage and without his express support of the art and culture, Ghazal would not have found the prominence that it did. Now, most early 19th century Urdu poets wrote in Ghazal. That was their main poetic form that they took. Wajid Ali Shah, the great patron of art, is cut from the same cloth as Lorenzo de Medici. He patronized some of the greatest writers and musicians of his time. And we see the effect of that patronage even to this day. Some of the most famous traditional musicians and folk musicians coming out of northern India and Pakistan are born out of that culture. The ghazal in its structure also represents a new age rebellion against the older, stricter forms of music in the Mughal court. In a ghazal, the couplets do not strictly have to talk about the same topic. The crux is in the rhyme of the poem. The ghazal within itself also carries the DNA of Arabic qasidas, which were romantic odes sung by Bedouins of Arabia. Ghazal also carries the diverse lexicon of Urdu, which in itself is a very cosmopolitan language, born out of Persian, Arabic, and heavy Turkish influences. And some of the most important 19th century Urdu writers wrote in Ghazal. So Ghalib and Mir Taqi Mir and even the last Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar all wrote Ghazal.